Hello, welcome to our June 1st mini healing. It's going to be a good night. Got my little co-host here, Duncan, although he's trying to sleep. So, yes, in about 10 minutes, we will start with, no, in about 5 minutes, we'll start with our first healing pulse. Typically, we do 3 in a night. But I should tell you the proper order, right? So, we're going to do the healing pulse. And then I'll start taking individual requests. Well, there's Paula. Welcome, Paula. And the individual requests are, so if there's something that's bothering you or you're working on something, say you've got pain or other issues, or maybe you've got some emotional things going on, or if you've got anxiety, or you're trying to manifest something like maybe abundance or just something new, I could look and see if there's blocks to what you're trying to manifest. Let me know. So, yes. So, and there's Marina. Oh, that's not good. So, Anne Marie, you might want to close your window and close down your browser, whatever browser you're using, and then reopen it. Otherwise, I am on YouTube too, because I know you're on Facebook right now. So, but try that first, because I know you like connecting through Facebook. So, and fingers crossed that that'll work. So, but I will put a comment in here. So, because I'm hoping, Anne Marie, you can, even if the video has trouble, if you could hear it. Joan, that would be a good one for you to work on. So I'm assuming, Anne Marie, you can hear, just because you're able to access the site, but not the video. Is anyone else having video trouble? So far, I'm not seeing any issues on my side, which it doesn't always let me know if there's problems. So today, show number 157. How's that for a nice round number? So I'm going to start. So I've got my little book here of over 3 years of notes and live sessions. So I'm going to put Joan Love. Oh, and there's Donna. Oh, and Renee. Super. So good to see some familiar people. Love that on a Saturday night. I wasn't sure who would show up just because some people have plans for the weekend. Good. Thank you for that feedback, Marina. All right. So Renee, love too. And we're going to start with our first healing pulse. So with this, think about where you want to receive the healing, especially for you guys that are dealing with love. Is this a physical, like a heart love? Or is there some mental things going on that are causing some blocks to love? So depending on how you answer, that's where you'll want to do your hands. And so for those of you who are experiencing other types of emotional issues, say like anxiety, think about when you're anxious, where do you feel that? Like for me, it's the pit of my stomach and I feel sort of nauseous. Or maybe your chest gets tight or your throat gets dry. Or maybe you're just sort of a mess because you can't think. So all those you need to think about, where does that live within you? Otherwise, if you're dealing with physical issues, that's fairly easy. Say you banged your knee, well, we're going to send the energies to your knees or your knee, excuse me. So I want you to rub your hands together. Place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. Imagine my hands on yours. And here's the most important part, to just allow the energy to flow. Breathe that in. And imagine with each breath in, it goes a little deeper, a little further, reaching further than it did before. But also with each breath out, you are releasing things that don't belong, things that you've healed, things that maybe they don't even belong to you. And so just breathe in that energy and breathe out. So breathe in and breathe out. And so those of you who are sensitive, you might actually feel these energies. So like right now, my hands are all sort of tingly. But I know for me, it's pretty common that I don't always feel it. But the more I've worked with the energies, the more I do feel it. So just breathe in those energies. We'll do it for another minute or so. Just breathing that in. Okay, so that was our first healing pulse. Let me know how you did. So now we're going to start with the individual healing. So if you want to submit in chat what you would like to work on, let me know. So I've got Joan and Renee, and next I'm going to write Paula. Anxiety and stress relating to full moon. And I'm sure, Paula, you're not the only one that is sensitive to full moon energies. So maybe we'll do a little more depending on what people say for the full moon. But we'll definitely work on that for you. So Anne Marie, I'm hoping she's able to access through Facebook or through YouTube. Hurt physically, emotionally, with lots of grief. Okay. All right. Wanda. So with this, I look for underlying reasons, and sometimes it's underlying reasons that are working against healing or preventing things. So Valerie, Anne Marie's having troubles with video on Facebook too. So I'm wondering if You should also go to YouTube if you can. All right, so Wanda, chronic sciatica, right leg. All right, Sunny Sis. Insomnia. Ashley. Releasing perfectionism. Oh, Ashley, that sounds like a good goal. Yeah, if you always have to be perfect, that's so stressful. Oh, good, Anne Marie. Valor's having that same trouble, so I told her to switch. So, isn't that funny? All right. So, Anne Marie, I do have you down for being hurt physically, emotional, with lots of grief. Donna. We're going to work on hip area and right knee. And you can put down more than one thing, but sometimes if it's different reasons for each, I will focus on the one. But sometimes it's something underlying that's causing both. So I always check in and see. So right knee. Okay, Valerie. Right wrist and arm. Okay. All right, so let me see what lists I'm going to use. Okay, so we're going to use my big list. It's got like 400 different things on it, so it's very comprehensive as far as emotions go. And how I use it is I get the emotion and I get an age, and we try and sort of figure out the event that triggered it. Oh, Valerie, I need to add food and anxiety too. Okay. All right. So Joan's first. And Renee, Joan wants to work on love. Renee is second. She wants to work on love. But the underlying reasons for both of these people are different. So we'll do them one at a time. All right, so Marina, we're going to do inflammation or if not, what is best for her. Okay. All right, so let's see. This one's going to be interesting for Joan, I think. So let's see. I just need to get an age and then we'll chat about it. So with this, all right, let me just quick write down Amanda. Remove blocks. So, and how I work with that is I work on removing the most important block that can help her. So with Joan, I'm getting, no worries, Amanda. the way I structure things, people can sort of come in or out as needed. So with Joan, this is an issue from when she was around 18. And timing's the hardest. So usually I'm within a year, but it's 17, 18, 19, something in there. And it's an event, but the energy around it is something phobic. And isn't that interesting that that comes up for love? So phobic and love. So I don't know, you know, 18, that's a tough age too, because you're so young, but yet you know everything. And feelings are often so new and intense that sometimes you jump down a rabbit hole that you probably should have just, if you had been older, you would have just walked away. And it can create some phobic responses. So, Sally, I'm going to add you to removing any blocks too. So with this, if you have healing in your background, and many of you in the room, I know you, and you do have that in your background. So I want you to assist with this, because I find that even though I can release things, sometimes there's some residual energies that I've noticed the last couple of years that are even more powerfully released with your assistance. So if you don't have healing, but you still want to help, which I think will be great, is just lend your support. And when I tell you what it is, imagine it just releasing and floating away. So let's release the energies around phobic and love for Joan, because that would definitely put the kibosh on finding a love that's long-term and lasting and fulfills your needs. So releasing and removing phobic and the energies around this particular event. Yeah, because I'm not getting it was something long-term, this event. You know, because sometimes when something comes up, it could be something that happened over a series of days, weeks, or months. But this was fairly short-term. So let me check in and just see if that released. I am getting that did release for Joan. Let me know how you're doing, Joan. Next is Renee. Renee also wants to work on love. So let's see what comes up for her. And I've got my list, but sometimes I'm not paying enough attention as I should. So if you wrote in chat, but yet I get to the bottom of my list and I haven't said your name, please say something, because I definitely didn't. Let's see. Was it about Liam? No, it wasn't that. So let's see if I can tune in and get a little more. So it was something about your almost husband then. Something about how he made you feel. And so I think if you go back that far and release that energy of how he made you feel, it will open you up to more love in your life. If that makes sense. All right, so Renee, let's see what comes up for Renee. All right, so and Renee's going to have an interesting one too. So I just need to get an age for Renee. 23, Renee. So 22, 23, 24, somewhere in that time period. Good, Joan. So something to explore further, because Joan's a healer too. So sometimes it's just, it needs someone else to bring things into our awareness, because self-healing and self-awareness is not always easy. So that's something that Joan can explore and work on healing too. So with Renee, I'm getting the word demoralized, and around 23. So demoralized, 22, 23, 24. And typically, because she asked about love, was she demoralized when it came to a romantic situation? And I do get yes, versus like a family love. So it wasn't family love, it was a romantic relationship, and she felt demoralized, and it's affecting her love today, even though it's been quite a few years since then. So, Renee, send energy to releasing and removing this, and I will also work on clearing. So, releasing and removing the energy of demoralized. Nice. I did get that released. So when I release, I generally latch on to the energy and I snap it away. But like oftentimes, if I have a private session with someone and they're new to releasing energies, we send energy from like the third eye area over their head, which is like the governing channel, and send energy with the intention on releasing those energies that need to be gone. And usually we do that between 3 and 5 times. And sometimes people really like the physicality of that, but that's usually how I teach people to release, especially if they don't have anything in their background. So with Renee, I'm getting that did release. Let me know how you're doing, Renee. So is anyone else having full moon issues, particularly anxiety and stress? And some full moons, because each moon has the connection to the zodiac. And so some full moons you will not have any trouble. Other full moons you will be sort of miserable or worse. So, and Paula's experiencing anxiety and stress from the current full moon. So if others of you are having issues, let me know. But I'm going to focus on Paula for now. Good, Amanda. That's, as you heal certain things, you're not as affected. Well, and keep in mind there's been a lot of solar activity and eclipses and the Schumann resonance. So, or resonance. So all that can make things so much worse. Okay, so this one in particular, I'm going to do for Paula. But I think when I get to the bottom of my list, we'll do something for others. So RS Fitness has anxiety. So you're on my list, but then at the end, we will do more about full moon issues. Okay? All right. So looking for Paula. And I want to focus on, for Paula, something that will make her less sensitive to the upcoming full moon energies. So let's see what that is. Okay, so I've got it. I just need an age. Thank you for sharing that, Anne Marie. I know some people are really super sensitive to full moon energies. All right, let me get an age for Paula. I'm getting around age 28. So that means 27, 28, 29, and it's unmindful. So when I think of the word unmindful, I actually think of myself when I was younger in my 20s, and I was so oblivious to New Age, metaphysical, and anything sort of woo-woo. So I was just busy living life, having fun, and not realizing there was often a deeper purpose. So with this, Paula, think back when you were 28. How connected were you to your inner spirit at 28? And so if you were a typical 20-year-old, because I know you're a little older, like me, I think a lot of the young people nowadays, they just are more aware. And maybe that's because their parents have taught them, or the energies have just allowed them to evolve quicker, and young people are awakened. Thank you for sharing that, Renee. So there was some piece of that you there was an argument and you may not remember it. There's a piece of your soul that does. So just imagine that releasing. So at that point, you were very much working on, living your life, setting up your home, your family, and not really being mindful. And I don't think even when I was 28, I had no clue what mindfulness was. It wasn't a thing. I think back then there was meditations, but meditations didn't really resonate with me, and they still don't. But mindfulness is more of how I connect. So let's release that sort of disconnection from back then, because especially if you are of the belief that there is no time, there is part of you that's 28 and living that life. So if we work on releasing the unmindfulness, it will change everything. Okay, so that released for Paula. And so, Paula, I know you do healing too. So just focus on allowing those energies to heal from around that age. Okay, let's do our next healing pulse. And then we come back, I'm going to work on Anne Marie and Wanda. So with this, if you're just coming in, the healing pulse goes to where you direct it. And so if you've got physical issues, that's exactly where you want to send the energy. If you've got anxiety, and I know a number of you do, wherever you feel that anxiousness, that's where you're going to want to send the energy. Those of you who are working on physical things, so like Valerie, either you want to focus on your right wrist and arm or your abdomen for the food. Donna, hip area or right knee. Choose one and just focus on it. Wanda, your right leg. All right, so let's go. You're going to rub your hands together until they're warm and get that energy flowing. And then place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. If you don't really have anything specific, I suggest heart or your solar plexus chakra, which is right below. It's between your heart and your belly button. Just place your hands there. Imagine that my hands are on yours, and so you're receiving my healing frequencies plus your own. And just breathe that in. Just allow it to flow. And for those of you who like color, if you could heal with color, what color would it be? And imagine the energy having that color. So there are many that say that green is a healing energy. Sometimes people really are drawn to the purple healing energies, but what is your personal healing color? Pull that into the energies, infuse it. Imagine it spreading all over, sort of like sunlight. Just breathe that in. And then as you breathe out, you're releasing. My whole assistant's going to help too. Okay, that was Healing Pulse number 2. Let me know how you did. All right, so Anne Marie, you are next. So we're going to work on being hurt physically, emotionally, with lots of grief. So let's see if we need to separate that or we can treat that all as one. So we're going to treat it all as one. And I've been talking about events. This was more of a longer term thing. And I'm so sorry, Anne-Marie. This is the good and the bad about doing things online is I wish I could just give you a big hug. But let's see if we can reduce this at least a little bit. Okay. So I'm getting, this is recent, and I get the word mocked, and this was part of the abuse. Wonderful, Valerie. Thank you for sharing. Hello, Francine. So with this, Anne-Marie, let's see. Let's see if we can just sort of grab that mocked and everything that went with it. So with this, it's so not just one thing. It's like you've got this huge garbage bag full of crap. So let's just fill up that garbage bag with all the energies like mocked and everything else that went with it too, including the grief. So okay. So I did get that to release, although there's quite a few layers of this, and you know that, because this was pretty serious. So what I want you to do is before you go to bed at night, I want you to work on clearing as much as you can, and just take like 3 minutes if you can, and work on clearing it before you go to sleep, because I would like this to help your sleep be more restful. But I want you to keep doing it until you notice a difference, okay? You are very welcome, Anne Marie. All right, Wanda. Wanda's got chronic sciatica. So let's see if there is an emotional component to that. And I do get yes. So let's see what is contributing towards that. Because I do get it's multiple things, but I'm hoping this helps at least a little bit, Wanda. All right, so let me just. You are very welcome. So, Wanda, there was something when you were about 28. So, somewhere like 27, 28, 29, where there was a period of time where you felt super unimportant. And this, unfortunately, you felt this from multiple areas of your life: family, relationships. Yeah, more family relationships, not work. So, let's release this. Okay, so let me check in and just see. All right, so Wanda, that released. Take a little walk around your room and see if the discomfort has dropped a little bit. I am getting that there's multiple reasons for this, but I'm hoping that drops your pain at least a little bit. Next is Sunny. Sunny's working on insomnia. So let's see. So this was a piece of this, because insomnia often has multiple reasons. Um, but a piece of this issue for you, Sunny, is from when you were young. You were like 16. So somewhere 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. And at that time, you were very naive. And sometimes it was very unpleasant because, well, multiple things. Because you were made fun of, possibly, and or taken advantage of because you were naive. So let's focus on releasing that and healing that time of your. So releasing and removing the negative around that being that age and being naive. Because I know sometimes families really overprotect, and that makes it a lot harder as a kid if you're naive. Okay, so let me check in and see. I'm getting that released. But I think for you also, like what I had told Anne Marie, focus on releasing this right before you go to sleep. And I'm hoping that this allows you better rest. You are very welcome, Wanda. Thank you for sharing what you're feeling. Next, we've got Ashley. Ashley wants to work on releasing the need to be perfect. And life will get so much easier, Wanda, if you don't have that. So let's see. Oh, I'm thinking you're probably going to laugh when I tell you this. Let me get an age, though. So this was something around when you were about 23. So 22, 23, 24, somewhere in there. There was some type of event that you just dug your heels in and were so stubborn. And part of the stubbornness has carried forward into the being perfect. And so I think it will be easier if we release the stubbornness, because then it will allow you to release the being perfect. But right now they're sort of tied together. So even when you say, I need to be more open to not being perfect, being allowed to make mistakes, the stubbornness piece of it pretty much locks it in. So let's release the connection of being stubborn to this. And so, yeah, I'm very curious if you remember an event around that age that sort of locked you into that. So let's release and remove that stubbornness. And when you have something like stubbornness, usually it's not just a one and done thing. You usually have got layers of stubbornness. And so this might be something that you want to focus on releasing more layers of stubbornness, because that will make it easier to allow yourself to be the imperfect Ashley who, when you allow your true self to come through, you will be perfect when you are not focusing on perfection, because you're perfect for you. Okay, so that released. Let me know how you're doing. So Donna is next, and then after that, we're going to do our next healing pulse. And so let's see, Donna's working on hip area and right knee. Let's see if we can work on these together. No. So what should we do? We're going to focus on your right knee, Donna. So let's see. Just one moment, and I will get an age. And that's okay, Ashley. Sometimes things will come to you later. Other times it maybe wasn't something that you were quite aware of was an important event. So, and Francine just commented, I'm living with a guy who hates it when I smudge. Will he ever get over it? So, I'm probably not a good person to ask Francine, because I really hate the smell of sage. It makes me ill. So, years ago, I worked in a college, and I was just down the hall of the First Nations lounge, and they would smudge and smudge and smudge on a regular basis. And when they had the doors open, the the smoke and the smell would all go down the hall, and I was in the corner of the building, and it would all come into my office until I just felt so sick. Um, so so I'm not a fan of sage at all. I have um, liquid sage that will spray, because I also had an office where I did healing that you couldn't burn anything. And so I've got this liquid spray, or because I'm a Reiki practitioner, sometimes I clear things just with the energy in my hands, or sometimes I burn pine or cedar. So a few of those other things. All right, so going back to Donna. Sorry, a little sidetracked here, but such interesting things. All right, so let's see. I just need an age for Donna. So I'm getting around age 36 for you, Donna, and it's an event where things were just sort of mixed up. So 35, 36, 37, something in there. And this is relating to your knee. So let's support me in releasing and removing that feeling that everything's just sort of mixed up. Thank you for Valerie and Joan's comments about Palo Santo. All right, so Donna, I've got that released. So take a little walk around your room and see. Lavender can be a little overwhelming too, yes. Okay, so let's do our third healing pulse. And when we come back, we're going to work on Valerie and Marina. And then I also have Amanda, Sally, and RS. So if you put your information down and I missed you, I'm sorry. Please add your name to the chat. So let's do our third healing pulse. So with this, I want you to rub your hands together. Place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. Imagine my hands on yours. And just breathe in that energy. Now, if you are one who really enjoys breath work and you can feel the energy and the power in it, I would suggest doing the box breath, where you count 4 as you breathe in, and then you hold for 4, and then you breathe out for 4, and then you hold for 4, and then you start again with the breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, and just keep allowing it to go back and forth. And just imagine with each breath in, the healing's going a little deeper, allowing more healing to happen. Okay, and so that was healing pulse number 3. Let me know how you did. Valerie is next. Let's see, because Valerie gave me a couple different things to work on. And we're going to work on food and anxiety. So let's see. All right, so this is when you were just a wee one, Valerie. You were 9 or so. So somewhere like 8, 9, 10. And it's the feeling of being humiliated. So let's check and see, was this a family thing? No. School? No. At 9, your lives are fairly small. So usually I do like family. If you're older, I do like, romantic love. But, you're 9. Is there something about church? Church or religion from back then? There's something there. Good, Anne Marie. I'm glad. Keep working on that, though. So let's release and remove the energies related to this, okay? So sometimes when things come up, because this is like a long time ago, it's not something that we would always remember. So let's release and remove the energy of that feeling of humiliation. And I think that's sort of lodged in your abdomen. And so we're going to do the release a little differently with this. So I want you to reach in and pull it out. And you're going to recycle that emotional energy back to source. And that might have been it, that you overheard something. And especially at 9, we don't always understand things that we hear or even things that we feel. But some of that energy has stuck with you. So let's. Okay, I'm getting that release. So, but let me know how you're doing with that. All right, so next is Marina. Marina wants to work on inflammation or whatever's best for her. So I'll see which one. We're going to work on the inflammation, Marina. So let's see. So I am getting that there is an emotional component. This is a unique word, so I'm curious how it fits in. Good, Valerie. So Valerie and some of you, when you receive healing, you're yawning a lot. And that's a really good physical sign that things are changing, because when you yawn, you're releasing and making space for the healing to come in. All right, so let me get an age for Marina. Around 14. So 13, 14, 15, Marina. And it's the word embroiled. So that's like being totally surrounded. And not in a good way. Otherwise, this wouldn't come up. This is something about school. I'm not getting family. So let's go ahead and release these energies. Because it's like sort of a suffocating kind of energy too. So let's release this. So that did release. there are more layers to the inflammation, but the reasons are different. All right, so I need to write down Larissa. Financial blocks. For her and family. Potentially generational. So it sounds like Joan's healing from other things. Sometimes when you show up for a healing, and like I'm doing the individual, sometimes you can get healing from other people's healing because you're sort of tuned into frequencies and you're allowing the changes to happen. So that's what Joan's doing. I even had a couple people who go and listen to the replay and understand that there's a reason why certain things come up when they're listening. And they tune into the healing and allow it to affect them in a really positive way. And they've written me after the fact and said, I listened to this one and I resonated with this emotion and this emotion and this emotion. It was really sort of a cool thing. All right, so Amanda's next. She wants to work on focusing on what's going to be best for her as related to blocks. So let's see what comes up. So I'm getting this instance was when you were around 21, Amanda. So somewhere 20, 21, 22. And it's the energy of being unhappy. And so let's go ahead and release this. But this is something that I suggest you work on in the future too, because, and I think many of us have this, that we have moments in time where we're unhappy. And for some reason or another, that energy has stuck with us. Sometimes it's because of extreme events, but sometimes we don't really know why trapped emotions happen. And so with this, I really think that if you can focus on releasing the energy of being unhappy, it will help you. So I'm going to just work on this one from when you were around 21. And I am getting that released. Okay. Sally is next, and she also wanted to work on just removing blocks. So let's see what comes up for her. So I'm getting this is from you were about 27, Sally. So somewhere 26, 27, 28. And it's the word pressured. So I don't know. So it was some type of event where you felt pressured. Exactly, Amanda. So focus on it and manifest that, because I think that would make life so much easier if you don't resonate with being unhappy, but you resonate with the happiness that's available to you. So with Sally, so is this, so I'm not getting family or relationship, but was there something from a job where you felt pressured? But I'm going to just go ahead and release. So that did release. Okay, RS is next, and they want to work on anxiety. Good, Wanda. Pay attention to those little intuitive hits. So this is an odd one, RS. So it's from when you were about 17. So some were 16, 17, 18. But it's the term washed up. And I would never, ever attribute washed up to a 17-year-old because at 17, there is so much potential. So I wonder if something happened that maybe set you back. You are very welcome, Sally. And made you feel like you couldn't do what your goals were at 17. And there's a piece of that that's connected to the anxiety. So I'm so sorry this happened to you. But let's get rid of this, okay? And generally, anxiety has many layers, especially the older you get. If you haven't dealt with things, sometimes there's a lot of work to be done. But just anyone who deals with anxiety, just keep working on it. Because sometimes it's not even your own shit, it's the energies of the universe, too. You know, think about COVID. How many people got their anxiety amped up because of COVID? Um, so many. So let's release this feeling of being washed up at 17 for RS. So let's release this. So we're almost done. I've got Larissa left, and then we're going to do a group full moon energies for people being affected negatively. I think I'm going to do 2 or 3 group negative beliefs, and then we'll do aura strengthening, and then we'll probably be done unless someone else has any questions or suggestions. All right, so RS is done. So, Francine, if you don't know Reiki, maybe you should learn Reiki because that has no smell. Yeah, I'm a little biased. Okay, Larissa, let's see. Financial blocks. And this is going to focus on Larissa. Hold on here. So I'm getting the word derided, which I don't know if I've ever used that word. But let me get an age. So I'm getting this is from around 28. So somewhere 27, 28, 29. So let's see. Was this family, friends, work? Something happened at work where you got in trouble or bad boss? Yeah. Let's release and remove the energies of that boss energy. 'Cause that's following you. That feeling of not being good enough. So let's release and remove that. Okay, so that did release. All right, so next, let me know what you think of that one, Larissa. That was a little different. Okay, so next we're going to, for those of you who are affected negatively by the full moon energies, especially the one that's upcoming, I'm going to see if there's got 3 emotions that we're going to pull, because some of you will have all 3 and some of you will maybe have 1. You are welcome, Larissa. So let's see. Negative emotions regarding the June full moon. Good, Larissa. So release that, and then I'm getting it because you've had multiple bad bosses, because you've attracted that. It's not been helpful to your finances. So let me just see how many. There's some energy with like 3, although sometimes there's some hidden things in there, so it doesn't always come up with my muscle testing. But so I want you to really work on releasing and removing any connections to these bad bosses. So I've got the first trapped emotion regarding negative emotions and the full moon. Thank you for that feedback, RS. I appreciate that. Yeah, yours was a unique one. So I'm really hoping that helps you. And I imagine there's a story behind all that. Now, these are definitely some unique words. So these are potentially things that are negative emotions affecting you for the June full moon. So, and it, again, you could be affected by all of these, or maybe there's only 1 or 2. But as I say the words, tune in and see how you feel about it. So the first one is deprived. And especially if you think, oh, I've had that way too many times, then claim it and get rid of it. Okay. The next one is turned off. And so I would think of this as someone who is more closed off, so that you are open and allowing of things to flow. But if you're turned off, especially turned off in a negative way, that's going to make things harder. And the last one, I don't think I've had this word come up in a session ever before. It's the word desecrated. And I don't even think I've said that word out loud before. There's a few that came up tonight that I have never said out loud. Maybe I've read them in a book. Desecrated. So we're going to focus. And so especially for the words that you're like, oh yeah, that's one of my words, but one of your words that you don't want to hang on to anymore, I want you to help me. So as I say the word, I want you to imagine that it's just gone. Okay? So we're going to start with deprived, releasing and removing deprived, and all the ways that that has affected you. So Susanna, you'll be the next and the last person on my list. We're just going to finish off the negative emotions regarding the June full moon. All right, next we're going to release and remove the energies of being turned off and closed off. So releasing and removing that. So that did release. And then the last one, desecrated. That's a very unique one when it comes to this. So let's release and remove desecrated and all the ways that that has affected you in a negative way. Good, Paula. I'm glad that you brought up the full moon stuff because, luckily for me, I'm not really affected greatly, but I know some of my clients, well, and even you guys here on the monthly, tell me that it really affects you. So I appreciate that reminder because then it sort of drives me to help more. So thank you for that feedback, Paula. And again, thank you for bringing that up. All right, so Susanna is going to be the last individual healing. And then we will do aura strengthening. And then I'll take any questions. So sore right hip. Let's see if there's an energetic reason. So I'm getting something from around age 22. So somewhere around 21, 22, 23. And it's an event where someone was really inflexible. And I say someone because when an issue comes up in an age, it's not always us, but maybe it's someone around you. So let me just tune into Susanna. Was this Susanna's issue? No. So it was someone else in your life that was very inflexible, and this affected you. Someone maybe that you were in a relationship with that was super inflexible. So let's work on releasing and removing that energy. And even though this was them, it still affected you, and the energy is still with you no matter how old you are. Sometimes things just stick with us unless we've worked on it. Okay, so I'm showing that released. So Susanna, you might want to take a little walk around the room and just see if it's loosened up a bit. And it's interesting because sometimes the theme of the event, like inflexible, so interesting how it has the potential to be physically manifested. So I wonder if your sore right hip is inflexible. And so that's where inflexible lives. So if you imagine that you're just going to take it out and recycle it to source, you shouldn't have a sore right hip unless, are there more? So here's the key question too. So are there more issues than the inflexibility that's causing the sore right hip? So I'm not getting anything. Sometimes things need to process, and then if there's other things that'll come up. All right, should we do the aura strengthening? And then I'll take any questions. So let's see. So with the aura strengthening, the importance of the aura strengthening is that it repels negativity. And so especially, things just don't seem to be very positive on many fronts these days, unfortunately. Although I notice my attitude is so much better if I don't watch the news. So let's work on sending wonderful, healthy, healing energy to our auras, and this will help repel negativity. Good, Susanna. All right, so with this, I highly encourage you to use your own healing frequencies because I do believe we all have them in our hands. But if you want to use healing pulse energies, basically you just rub your hands together and intend on using those healing energies. Otherwise, if you want to just work with your own frequencies, you just rub your hands together and just think about your own energies. So rub your hands and then just start beaming the energies out. And so imagine that the energy is just making that aura stronger, thicker, wider. I also like to put in a hint of reflectivity. So that way, if someone's sort of spewing some negative stuff, that it gets reflected back to them. And then, like with me, I imagine this bubble around me. And then I also think about what would I like to fill up my bubble with? And usually it's more about happiness, unconditional love, confidence. And then sometimes I give that a color. So like today, I think I want everything like bright purple. Okay, so that was aura strengthening. Any questions about what came up today or questions about healing? So I do private integrated healing sessions where I do things like this. These tools that I use on the live, I mainly do because they're very short, but they're also rather effective. There are other things that I do in a personal session that take much longer. So things like entity removal, or I do positive negative beliefs, and quite a few different things. And then generally at the end, people get some form of energy work. And then I also do things like past life regression using the Dolores Cannon method or the Candace Crock Goldman method. And I always love doing those kind of sessions because they're very powerful. So much can come up and so much healing can come up. Oh, wow, Wanda. That is cool. I know Joan sometimes get messages in song. Sounds like you're the same. So pay attention to, what's on the radio, or if a tune pops in your head, maybe it's a message for you. Thank you for sharing that. Everybody's so quiet, and that's okay. So I hope everyone had a good evening and healing things happened. So I will be here again July 1st, and might do something extra this month, but I keep saying that too. Yes, good night, everyone, and have a fabulous summer. Thank you, Marina. Bye. Duncan's here. He got all the free healing that he could. Thank you, Francine and Paula. Valerie. Have a fabulous night.